So I've got Dr. Jen Carter with me, and she's going to help us get to the bottom of whether drinking coffee in the sky could pose potential health problems. So we've been talking about the coffee, but
yes.
we just heard from Bobby, it's maybe the water that could be the issue here. So how's that actually been studied?
Right, so you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned the EPA, and it's been studied over the last 15 years. The Environmental Protection Agency in 2004 took a number of samples and found that actually all of their airlines were out of compliance in terms of their drinking water standards and how clean, or what you will call it, the drinking water was. Subsequently, they tested 327 aircraft. That was after that. 15% of them had total coliform. And that's considered to be actually a high percentage in terms of bacteria.
Yeah, 15% had coliform?
15%, absolutely. And there are other reports. Business Insider has reported EPA studies that said 1 in 8 aircraft were out of compliance when it comes to drinking water safety. And finally, Bobby mentioned the water service vehicles. There was a study in 2015 that actually said and led the conclusion that it's the water service vehicles that actually have high levels of bacteria. So this is something that we've been looking at.
I always learned that you boil water to sterilize it. And this water, it should be boiled in order to make the coffees. Why isn't that enough to get rid of this coliform bacteria?
Well, so when we talk about boiling and sort of keeping water safe, we know that you have to have your water at a rolling boil for at least a minute. That's the one thing that we need to keep in mind. And that probably is playing a role there, absolutely.
Yeah, but they're not boiling it long enough.
If at all. You know, sometimes coffee is not even boiled at all. You got to think about that. And in terms of the risks, what we're talking about with the risk, people say, well, what could this cause? What could this do? When we talk about total coliform, we talk about E. coli and fecal coliforms. Honestly, for most people with a healthy immune system, they're probably not going to get sick, or these are probably not going to cause illness. But E. coli, there are some strains that can cause diarrheal illnesses and others. I think one of the bigger things is that the presence of these bacteria might indicate that there are other pathogenic bacteria present. And honestly, some researchers say that yes, healthy immune system, you're probably okay, but what about those with a weakened immune system or the little babies? Those people might be better off with bottled water, folks say, and I can't say that I disagree.
So one of the biggest criticisms of the coffee water on airplanes is that it's in a tank and it's held in a place that doesn't often get cleaned, right? Because the plane isn't sanitized long enough. That's an argument that's made.
Right.
But I want to push back a little bit on this. So we did some homework on water in planes. We learned that the EPA requires disinfecting of the water system on each airplane 4 times a year. You know, that's more than some of you guys clean your bathrooms. So that's not bad. And they also require testing of the water for the coliform bacteria that you just mentioned, Dr. Caudle. Right. So theoretically, that should be okay. So I did one step further. Come on down to our big monitor here. We had our med unit pour through the EPA results for this past year, 2017. And what they found, I think it might end this coffee panic. It was really rare that the galley water in the plane tested positive for coliform bacteria. You presented information from a couple of years ago. Yeah. Only 1% of the thousands of tests, just 1% had coliform. And when it came to the E. coli, which is the more dangerous kind, they found it only in 0.05%. You know what that means? Out of the 4,000 planes that were tested, two of the planes had this E. coli. And even then, I wasn't sure it'd make you sick. So I got curious. I was flying recently, and I tested my own airplane coffee. There I am, coffee in hands. I'm bagging it up. No one can see me doing this, by the way. And Dr. Caudle, I don't know the results yet, but I bottled this, I hid it there, and I brought it home.
Yeah. We tested it. Yeah, we actually tested it. You did a great job of bottling it up. It actually came out that there was 0 coliform and no E. coli. So
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
High five for that.
My plain coffee was clean. I like the idea of, being a bit skeptical, but you got to verify the thoughts. So look, we looked at a big sample from the EPA, my own tiny little sample, literally tiny because it's 1 cup for me, and it seems like airplane coffee might be okay. Maybe the panic is running out of steam, pardon the pun. The data shows things have seemed to improve, and finding contaminated water is pretty rare these days. So I think we should get a lot of folks, if there were really problems with contamination, a lot more people than we're seeing will get sick. So I think airplane coffee is cleared for drinking. So come on now, cleared for drinking. Pull it down, save your money, drink it on the plane. When we come back, we investigate instant coffee. This is going to blow your mind.